record button. All right. Wow, this background's pretty crazy. A little halo on top of my head. Probably because the sun's white, so it's interesting. It doesn't really make any sense. You know what? Forget the background. Turn off. Oh yeah, I can go to space. Okay, so how do I turn off the background?
Let's see, it's under your video icon.
Yep.
Choose a virtual background. It should be a
oh, none.
None, yeah.
There we go. All right. All right, so Leehaze. It's funny that when I had mentioned this to you, you're like, yeah, you know what, I was thinking of doing the same thing. I was going to message you. That's crazy. And I was hoping that when I posted it on the community thing on YouTube, that people would actually chime in as to, you know, kind of if they had anything that they wanted to know, but no one really said anything.
Well, yeah, I don't see those messages. I saw you post some, but I just happened to go in to community on there. But they, you know, I've got the bell, you know, clicked and all that, but I never see any of those.
Oh yeah, so someone else mentioned that to me too, that they've done all the things, and you know, then they message me and they're like, yeah, so you haven't done any videos in a long time. I'm like, what are you talking about? I do a video like every week. What do you mean? They're like, what, really? I started sending them links. They're like, oh, there was no notification, nothing. Like I didn't know. Like all right, well, I guess never mind doing all the things, because apparently that doesn't always work.
Yeah, I mean, I subscribed probably over 100 different things, and I rarely get notifications. It's kind of odd, but I don't know. Something, yeah. They changed something, or I don't know what they did. But
yeah, they went the Facebook way. If you don't interact with all these things, they just cut everybody off and don't tell you. Yeah. So are you still using that? I remember a few videos ago you were using an HDMI, or sorry, a 4K video capture stick.
Yeah, no, I'm not, because that's when I was trying to use the K3 Mark III.
Right.
And I just broke down and bought a Logitech 922. That's what I'm using right now.
Oh, okay. Oh, you just got a webcam instead?
Yeah. So
yeah,
that's what I'm using. But I mean, it works. It's around here somewhere. Yeah, it's in the floor down there, but it works, and it was only like $10 or something like that. I was surprised because last time I looked, they were, you know, over $100. So yeah, it was nice to find something, and you know, it was from Hong Kong or whatever, and I thought this thing isn't going to work, you know, but it works. So I meant to do try it with my Olympus, you know, the EM10 Mark III that I've got. Try it with that, because somebody else messaged me and said it works good with that, but I haven't tried it out yet.
Okay. Yeah, I could see it being like a big benefit in regards to a mirrorless, just because of the way the technology itself actually works.
Yeah, and you could get, I mean, if you use like a 1.8 or something, you could get more cinematic look or whatnot. So
yeah, well, once Pentax releases, I don't know, a 1530 1.8 PLM, then I guess we'll be good.
Yeah.
It has to be that PLM. You know, here's something that I actually noticed, and I found this very bizarre, is so according to the list lens on the K70, it'll actually do autofocus in video using DC, what was it? Yeah, using like the 18135 WR, various other DC motor lenses, plus the PLM lens. But then the K3 Mark III, which is the absolute flagship camera, only does PLM because it doesn't have the actual hybrid autofocus. It's like,
yeah, you know, I hadn't tried a DC with it. I've done the PLM, but I hadn't, to think of it. Yeah, I hadn't tried it. Huh.
Yeah, according to their list, it actually it works on, like, there's a bunch of lenses that it works with on the K70.
Well, when I tried it on the K70, the 20-40, it was pretty unusable as far as, autofocus with video with that lens. So
I'm not sure if that one was in that list.
but that was on the K70. I never did try it on the K3 Mark III.
Yeah, well, it's a DC lens. It's not going to work, unfortunately. Let me see if I can find this here. K70.
But I did order the 21 last night. And then I got email this morning. We don't have the silver.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I ordered it from Rico, and he said, "Do you want us to cancel it?" I said, "Yeah, just cancel it and let me know when you get it in, because I just want the silver." And about 5 minutes later, all of a sudden they knew when it was going to show up. They didn't want to lose $1,400, I guess. So it's coming in next week. They should have it from wherever, Japan or wherever they're getting it, and then they'll send it off to me. So
okay. Yeah, the speaking of lenses and them not having things and things taking a while. So a while back I had done I tried to do that video comparison of the 55-300 PLM versus the 150-450 on the K3 Mark III. When the autofocus on the 150-450 failed. So my buddy and I we got together, and he was using his K1, and it, for the most part, it worked, but it did also glitch here and there on his K1. And, and I showed him what it was doing on my K3 Mark III, where it would just start hunting all over the place unless I backed off from 450 by like a millimeter, and then it would work. So in Canada, we use Sun Camera as the official Pentax repair center. So he gave everything to Sun Camera, and then they let him know that unfortunately Pentax will not give them any information in regards to the 150-450 and how all the different systems within that lens actually works. So they have to actually ship it back to Japan.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, so he has been without his 150-450. I think it's going on 9 months now.
Wow.
Yeah, he called them, and he called Sun Camera, and he was like where's my stuff? Like more than enough time's gone. It's been like 6 months, like at that time. And they're like, oh right, yeah, so well, because Japan was in a lockdown and blah 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 because of COVID, like they weren't working on anything. Like they do have the lens, but it's in queue. He's like, oh my, like what am I like? So at this point, he even told me, I was talking to him the other day, he said, I'm just calling it a write-off. I don't even think I'm going to see the lens again. He's like, whatever, man, I've moved on.
When I sent one of my lenses off to Precision Camera here in the US, they're very vague on what they say as well. It's just like, it's in the system, basically. That's all they give you, the information. But it did have some comment, like it went out to Japan, like they couldn't fix it, they couldn't figure it out. But yeah, that was the 20-40, and it took, I think, around 6 weeks to get it back, which isn't too horrible, but I mean, 9 months, gosh.
Yeah, like I mean, it's been, so he's been without it pretty much the entirety of the summer, because he gave it to me early in the season. And when I went to actually do the video, I was like, okay, this isn't working. Like, why is this hunting all over the place? Something's not right. And I felt bad, because I thought, like, oh man, oh, he's gonna kill me. So I asked him, and he was like, no, I'm not mad. He goes, but I'll bring my K1, whatever, we'll meet up, we'll compare back to back and like see what's going on. So it turns out that the lenses themselves don't actually have any firmware. They're just dumb lenses. They don't know anything. All the firmware to drive the lens and program the lens and everything is done from the camera body. So if there's a glitch within the firmware update on the camera body, you can completely wreck the lens, and it just won't work properly.
Oh, whoa.
But then Sun Camera here in Canada, they don't have the rights to do anything with the lenses. They all have to go back to Japan. They can't, unless it's something mechanical, they can't do anything. If it's anything electronic, they're not allowed to touch it.
Wow.
So yeah, man. So me going through and trying to figure out all these little issues and little niggles, like the soft focus and or yeah, the soft sharpness, I guess, on like when I was doing the DA 51.8 versus on the K3 versus the K33. I'm like, I really don't want to send this camera back. Like, if there is, like, I'm gonna go through and just try to figure this out myself, because I don't want to be without the camera for like a year.
Yeah. Now, have you done the latest upgrade on the K3?
Yeah.
Okay. Have you found any issues? That was like a month ago, right? I
Uh,
usually wait a month for other guinea pigs to
yeah.
try it out before I do it.
Yeah, no, I haven't really found any issues. I noticed, I think the only thing that I found, I mean, it could be placebo effect just because it's a new firmware, but it seems that the autofocus, if you're shooting through things like branches, railings, that kind of thing, the autofocus actually is more decisive. It doesn't get tricked into focusing on whatever the closest thing is.
Mm-hmm.
So, but other than that, I haven't really noticed any difference.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, I shot something yesterday. I put it on Facebook, but yeah, it shot straight through. I was using the 55 to 300, and it shot straight through all these branches and just hit this buck that was just right in the middle. Didn't have any problems focusing on it. I was like, wow, this is super. I was really impressed with that.
Wow. Yeah. Oh, what was I gonna say? So actually, no, I'm not ready to dive into that topic yet.
So do you have insurance on your equipment at all?
No, I don't. But there's an insurance broker that I have worked with over the years, and he's actually moved on to kind of running his own team.
Mm-hmm.
And he actually does provide photographers insurance. And he said he does insure a whole lot of photographers. So I told him, like, once the pandemic calms down and I actually start getting, more gigs and everything, when people are more comfortable, then, I will definitely be getting in touch with them to insure everything, because he does everything, the liability insurance for the photographer, insuring the actual gear, everything. So, and it actually turns out that actually just yesterday, a real estate company reached out to me, and they want to have a client day where, but I don't know, this is going to be tricky. They want to have a client day, and for bring your pet to the office and get pictures with Santa. But because it's clients, they have no idea how many people are actually going to show up. Right. So I was like, oh man, okay. You know what? We're just going to do a flat rate, this amount of time. I'll wait there, and that's it. Yeah. And I was like, and I'll see what they say. So yeah, they were happy with the quote and everything. So that'll actually be my first serious gig since the freaking pandemic, man. Like, this is crazy. I've never waited that long.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I hadn't done any jobs in years, but as you know, I'm mostly a hobbyist, but I did get one request, for some Bordeaux shots. The lady wanted some shots for her boyfriend for Christmas or whatnot. And I was thinking, I don't think I want to do this, because I don't know you. I don't know your boyfriend, if he's a jealous type. You had a man shoot you and all this lingerie and stuff. I was like, nah, I think I'll pass on that. I'll pass on your information to somebody else. That's what I did, I think. But
well, that's like a really good friend of mine who actually got me, well, pretty much pushed me back into photography. I mean, that guy, he's phenomenal, really, really amazing photographer. He was doing, I think it was Toronto Fashion Week, for like a huge fashion show. and some models on the runway, that kind of thing. And he called me and he was like, yeah, listen, man, like I need a second photographer. And I was like, oh, okay, well, when is it? So he told me when it was. And I was like, I think I have planned. Okay, well, let me ask my wife. Oh boy. Yeah, that didn't go over well. I was like, listen, my buddy just called me, and like I've done work with him before,
Mhm.
and she knows him. And I was like, so this is what's going on, blah, 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 blah. It's a big opportunity. And she's like, really? Taking pictures of half naked women walking down the runway? No, you're not doing that. And I was like, okay. Yeah, I hate to break it to you, man. Yeah, that's a hard pass. And I mean, he's traveled to Spain multiple times, Thailand, doing like really posh events, like the whole, massive mansion with the freaking pool with all the women in it, and like lifestyle kind of things. And
Yeah.
he's always like, man, I wish you could be here. I wish you could be here. I'm like, yeah, well, I like having my life and my house and stuff. So
Yeah.
sometimes I just got to draw the line, man. Okay, so yeah, I found the lens compatibility here for the K70. So apparently this is a big list. Okay, so AFC in video recording includes the 1685, the 1850, the DAL 1850, the DA 1850, DA 18135, and as you mentioned, well, the 2040. So maybe it doesn't work so well. The DFA 28105, 55300 PLM, DFA star 7200, DFA 15450, and the DA 560. So it's a pretty long list.
Yeah.
And they don't say whether it works well or not, but
It works.
so your eBay reselling, and I mean, sorry, just behind you, all I see is just it's like a warehouse in there, man.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Yeah, there's 2 more shelves on the other side. So
Wow.
I've got 300 things up there right now. So there's basically 300 lenses up on eBay right now. So
Like doing the reselling thing, like is it like a fair return on investment, like in regards to buying the lots and then what you actually get out of those lots? Because I'm
yeah,
sure people are curious about how that whole thing.
yeah, and a lot of people will say, "Oh, they're all full of molds." Most of you're not going to get your money back. I just when I'm bidding on something to buy, I just say $10. If it's just like one of the, like one of these Zooms over here that's not really worth that much,
Okay.
and I'll sell it for around $30. So that doesn't seem like a lot, but the way I've got it set up, I could list a bunch in a day and really pound it out. Like I think I was telling you, I hadn't worked in a year, so
Right.
technically I make enough doing this to make a living out of it. But the only thing is, I'm in America, of course, so insurance rates are just huge. So I got a quote for insurance for my family, health insurance, and it was $1,800 a month. So that's more than my mortgage. So that doing this doesn't make enough to pay a mortgage and that, and everything, all the other bills. But it does. I think my net sales, I think right now for the past 10, 11 months, it's $40,000, something like that.
Holy macro.
But that's
Wow.
net. That's not, I have to subtract everything out, and a lot of stuff is tax deductible as well. So I've been doing it for a number of years. Since I hadn't been working, I just really concentrated on it. I knew I can do it for a living if I wanted to, but it's just the insurance is too expensive. So I've got a job. I'll be on second shift. Like you're on second shift, aren't you?
Yeah.
So I'm starting that, and it will give me insurance, but I'll still be selling this stuff.
Okay. Wow. Yeah, I didn't realize well, I guess it's how, I guess, yeah, as you said, like it's how you have it actually set up and everything. And also knowing like kind of what to buy and what to bid on, that will give you a better chance of having a higher return. But yeah,
Yeah,
wow, I didn't realize it was like you could actually make that much off of it. Wow, that's impressive.
yeah, yeah. I started out just doing years ago, just Canon stuff, and then got into Pentax. I started doing some of their stuff, and then I was like, I could do every mount out there. I'm starting to know all the mounts, and so I just instead of just concentrating on one system, I just whatever I could find, I could use that mount or sell it. So
Right.
that's what I do, and I don't sell too many anymore, but I go ahead and put the adapters on the lens, and you know in the title I'll put it's for Olympus Micro Four Thirds or what that. So whenever anybody's searching for it, they'll be able to find it. That's
Okay.
so yeah. And so if I put an adapter with it, I end up selling it for 40 or 50 bucks for just a average Zoom from the 70s.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and oh man, with the prices of used items, I don't know how it is in the States, but here in Canada, the prices for even used items has just absolutely skyrocketed.
Mhm.
It's insane. Like I just sold I just sold my wife's car on the weekend. Or sorry, not this weekend. Was it last weekend? Yeah, I think so. Um, I mean, the air conditioning didn't work. The sunroof is broken. Had rust on the back wheel well. What else? I don't know what it translates into for miles, but it had 278,000 kilometers on it. And yeah, I sold it within 4 hours.
Wow.
As is, like you take it, but then you need to take it to a mechanic, get the work done on it, like, just take it as the way it is. And from about 5 minutes after I put it online, I was getting text messages, notifications through the system, phone calls. I'm like, I can't, like, what is, oh man. Okay. So I put it up for 1,500 bucks just because, I mean, the car wasn't worth, and it's a Kia, so they depreciate quick anyway.
Mhm.
And it's from 2009. So it's not like it was, really, at least I didn't think it was a really sought after vehicle. And as these calls kept coming in, I'm like, man, I should have said 2 grand. And then, someone someone sent me a message. They said they worked at a metal company and they were willing to offer us 1,700. And then I thought, man, I should have said 3 grand. Like, this is, oh man, like I don't even like, you don't even know what to price things at anymore because the cost is just all over the place. Like I was looking for a graphics. Okay, I bought my daughter graphics card, NVIDIA. It was an Asus NVIDIA 1050 Ti, GTX 1050 Ti. It's a decent video card with the large fan. And shipped to my door was taxes in and everything was $205. And that was about 2 months into the pandemic. Now I'm like, oh, you know what? Maybe I should have got one for myself. So I went back on Amazon. I'm looking. Yeah, they're going for $358 now. I'm like, they don't even make the card anymore. Why is like, are you kidding me? And then my other buddy was telling me that the card he bought 3 years ago for $700 is now selling for $1,300.
They just want the exact same card, I guess, or they're trying to do crossfire or whatever it is with the two vid cards together.
No, just the single card, but that's what the going rate is now.
Wow. Yeah, I hadn't built well, I built my daughter's computer, but that was right before the pandemic, so it wasn't too costly.
Yeah. Like, thinking back, I'm like, man, I should have bought 2 of those cards.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I know people are probably curious as to what we both think. That other guy.
The guy that spells his name wrong?
The guy who spells his name wrong.
I spell my name right.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Like I just I don't understand where this I don't know. I guess his anger is coming from. Like I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. Some people like to create drama where there is no drama.
I wonder
And I guess he's just wanting more likes or something. I don't know.
yeah, well, yeah, but at the same time, I mean that's a slippery slope though, because I mean you could actually tank yourself, you know, just by doing that kind of thing. But you know,
Yeah, and why would he pick on us and some of these other smaller? It's like if you're going to do that, go for somebody big, you know, not not
yeah,
us.
I
But
know, right? Like
so I don't know.
I mean, he's got I don't even know, like what, five, yeah, close to 5 times the subscribership that I have,
Mhm.
or 2, 4, 6. No, actually, okay, close to 4 times the subscribership that I have. And like, dude, why are you getting mad at me? I didn't even like I said in the video that I didn't even know this video existed. If it wasn't for it being sent to me, I would have had absolutely no idea.
Yeah, I hadn't watched his videos. I think it was after the second time he said he was going to quit Pentax. After that,
Yeah.
yeah, I was just okay. I'm done. And I unsubscribed, and I don't think I've watched a video before. He does the clickbaity type deal. Um, but yeah, I don't even since I hadn't been watching it, it doesn't even show up in my feed at all. Even though I'm constantly looking for Pentax, it doesn't really show up all that often. His channel does, but it's always interesting to find you know, new Pentax people doing videos. I like how a lot of people have started doing those.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, like for me, the thing is, I didn't mind his channel. Like you know, I liked his formula. You know, everybody makes mistakes in regards. I mean, I make mistakes, you know, with some of my testing and whatever, you know, but the overall formula and everything, like I actually liked his presentation. I liked, you know, the way he had it all put together and everything. It was decent.
Mhm.
But I don't know, like just all of a sudden, just this whole anger, like, dude, I don't even know you. Like,
Yeah,
you know, like you're not on any forums, you're not in any groups, or like we don't even communicate. Like, I don't even understand why you're mad at me. Like, dude, just calm down.
yeah.
So, okay, another thing. So I actually got a line, a direct email for contacting Pentax directly that is actually not published on any of their websites, which was my complaint, because I was like, hey, by the way, guys, I'd love to write you guys an open letter, but the silly contact form thing that you guys have on the websites, that's not going to cut it. Like, can I actually send something to somebody? Like, there's got to be somewhere. So they
Mhm.
actually did reply back with an actual email address. So I'm bouncing ideas in my head in regards to you know, what I'm going to mention in this open letter to Pentax. But I think one of the things, just going by my stats in regards to the age group of Pentax, man, they have got to do something to get some younger people on the system, because
Yeah, and I talked about that Jason Dozier podcast. I told him that you know Pentax, everybody's kind of up there in age. They don't have a lot of younger people in their demographics for the system. They need to definitely do something about that.
well, yeah, I mean, like, what, in about, I think the at least on my YouTube analytics, the majority of people are, I think it was 55 to 65 or somewhere around there.
Yeah, it sounds about right. I hadn't looked at that in a while, but yeah, it was definitely over 40. So there
Yeah.
wasn't very many in the 20s there. So
Yeah. You know, so like, you know, 5-10 years from, like, you know, like you're, if nothing gets done, like, you know, that it's already, you know, if the trend continues, right, once those people can no longer do photography, or, you know, unfortunately, I mean, we don't all live forever.
Mhm.
Actually, nobody lives forever yet. You know, what do you do then? Because that was your market and they're no longer there, right? So, you know, they've got to do something to entice the younger generation into the system so that, you know, that can actually continue on, right? But just trying to think of, I don't know, some creative ways to write to them to give them ideas of, like, you know, I guess more social media presence, you know, actually invite people to actually see some of the stuff, you know. But then I know Pentax is a small company, and I'm sure I mean, Ricoh's a huge company.
Right. Yeah. I see them in some of the baseball games. They've got their logo in the back of everything. I'm like, you got all that advertisement right there. Why don't you put like just a small thing that says "and Pentax" or something like that? You know,
Yeah,
get it out there. And
yeah,
they did try to make, you know, back with the K30 and some of those, they made the funky colors, different ones. Most of that I think was just sold in Japan. I don't think there was too many sold in the US, but they had some funky colors that I guess they were trying to get a younger crowd, more hipster type crowd. But obviously that didn't really work.
yeah. Well, in a matter of speaking, they kind of did that as well with the KS1. You know, in regards to having, you know, because that's when LED lighting was all the craze, and you could get all these different colors, and, you know, so yeah, let's throw that into a camera.
Yeah. And
Right.
that was rated the camera store guys.
Yeah.
They rated the worst camera of the year or on their year camera thing or whatever.
Yeah.
We're like, what is this? I like watching those guys. They're over on, where are they now? DP Review, I think is
Yeah.
where. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, the KS2 was, I mean, I had the KS2 for a couple of years. I never had the KS1, and I really enjoyed that camera. It was a really good camera.
Yeah. Well, the one interesting thing, so the way the LED lights along the grip worked was that was your actual self timer countdown on the KS1, which that I was like, okay, that's a pretty cool idea, because you actually get like, okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and you know it's going to take the picture, right? That was actually pretty, you know, it was well integrated that way. But I just think, I don't know, sometimes the execution of the ideas they have are great, but I think the execution, sometimes that kind of needs you know, maybe a little bit more around the table review a few times before they actually do it, right? Kind of like, I mean, there are people who love the KO1, but it wasn't really the greatest design either.
Well, I'm wondering who gets to test out these cameras. Where are the ambassadors that actually get? I don't know if all ambassadors get to test it out, but who got to try out these cameras? How many do they hand out to before it's an actual product to get to test these out? And is it just in Japan that they're doing that? Where all are they doing that? And are they just, what type of photographers are they getting to try out these cameras? It's just interesting. But the K3 Mark III, man, I'll grab this real quick. I wanted to ask you, is that way? I used this the other day and I was like, every time I turn this on, it is just stupidly, let me put a manual mode here. I mean,
Oh, what?
that's ridiculous. That's just too fast for me. Do you use it in the high burst mode?
Oh, no, I've changed it to medium.
Yeah. Every time I turn it on, I put it in high right off the bat, and I'm like, I'm gonna have like 4,000 shots, and I'm gonna have to go through all these. But I mean, it's just every time I'm amazed when I turn it over to that. I'm just curious if anybody out there that has this camera is using it in high burst mode like that all the time. And if so, what are you shooting birds? What are you shooting? Action sports? Just curious. But yeah, that's insane. That's insane fast. I was just like, oh my God.
Yeah, like I will put it into, like, in certain situations, I will actually change it to high speed. Like for example, if I'm over by the lake and I want to, and I see that the birds are diving and, they're trying to catch fish or whatnot, then yeah, I'll put it into high speed because, that split second is what you actually need if you want to get, like, say, the beak hovering just above the water. But if you're in, medium, you're going to miss that, and it'll either be the bird just coming down or the bird already in the water, right? You'll miss that in between. But on a regular day-to-day, my finger won't release off the shutter fast enough for me to get a single shot.
Yeah, hummingbirds, I guess that would be good with those as well.
Yeah.
What's your favorite thing that you like about the camera? Do you have a favorite feature that you just come to love?
Favorite thing about the camera? Oh boy. You know what? I don't think I can actually classify anything as a favorite thing with the camera, because the whole, to me anyway, the whole premise of the camera is the combination of how everything is integrated all together. If you separate things and just take one thing as a singular element, all of a sudden, I mean, the camera's decent, but it doesn't seem that great. But when you actually combine all of it together as an actual cohesive system that just works, right, then yeah, it is a phenomenal camera. Obviously the autofocus is a massive improvement. Right. But other than that, I mean, I think it's the feel. And when I say the feel, like, I'm not talking about the grip and the ergonomics of how it feels in the hand. It's the smoothness of the controls.
I was almost going to say the exact same thing, because I was out yesterday and a bird flew by or something, and it's just, everything is like right there in your hands. And I shoot in AV mode, but you've got everything's just so you could change it in a split second if you need to. And I've never had the K1 it's similar to that, but it's just there. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah, it's like they've actually gone, and I think this is part of the issue with Pentax is there's so many tiny elements that are never talked about and people don't pay a whole lot of attention to unless they're an engineer at Pentax. But the tactile feel of the buttons, the shutter, the control dials, like, it's because me going back to my K3 Mark I, that camera just feels so old and clunky, and like, just everything's so notchy, when you're moving the control dials, like click, like it just, all of a sudden it's no longer smooth. Like, it's sitting upstairs. I don't even touch it anymore.
And it's hard to people that don't use Pentax to, you say that and they kind of just look at you like, big deal, but you have to hold it in your hand and use it for a little bit just to actually get that, what we're talking about here,
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like I've mentioned in a couple of my videos where, yeah, putting out that kind of money right off the bat, yeah, I was on the fence after, even once I had the camera, as excited as I was, and like, wow, this is, it feels great, it's amazing. But then I start, it's that whole buyer's remorse thing. You're like, did I actually make the right decision? I don't know. Like, that was a lot of money. But then after using the camera for a good few weeks, a month, then the light bulb starts going off and you're like, okay, I can actually see why this camera costs what it does. And then the video where I was trying to compare the K3 Mark I to the K3 Mark III, the second I picked up the K3 Mark I, I was like, okay, I mean, this is a great camera, but man, now it just feels terrible. Like, I didn't even realize there was that stark difference between the two cameras until you actually use them back to back. And, yeah, that video that I had done, like, that was a huge eye opener for me, because I would never have thought that I would have considered the K3 Mark I to be a slow camera.
Yeah. I don't have my K70 to compare it to, but anymore. I sold that, but yeah. And it's funny, just like I've been doing the reviews on those old Canon cameras just to see the difference. I know those are ancient, but just the difference in technology, how far it's gone, and it's crazy. And as far as price, you were talking about cars earlier. I purchased back in the Canon days, a Canon 5D Mark III. It had just come out, and my buddy was taking me to lunch, and we were driving. I was talking about this camera that I just bought, and he's like, "Man, you've been wanting that for a while. How much is that?" And I was like, "It was expensive. It was $3,400." And I mean, it was ungodly. And I was like, "But I've been wanting it." So I pulled the trigger, whatever. And he said, "This truck cost $3,300, right?" So I'd spent more on my camera than he spent on his truck. I was just like, and that really puts it in perspective there. Gosh.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. Yeah, like I at least with the K3 Mark III, I'm hoping that they continue doing what they seem to have been doing, which is actual improvements, not just the whole tagline of what is it, better stability or whatever, like the no-name firmwares.
Yeah.
Or improved stability or whatever. I can't even remember what the heck they call it. But yeah, because it does seem that with every firmware revision that they have done so far on the K3 Mark III, it actually has made improvements. So I'm hoping that they continue on that road. One thing that would be nice is if there was a way we could actually tell the camera, for subject recognition, what kind of subject do we want it to actually recognize? Because I think that would help the autofocus a lot. But I don't know if that's actually a possibility though.
Yeah. It's Canon did the same, does the same thing when they did their firmware updates. It would just say, basic upgrades to the camera. But then when you search down in there, they would correct, they added Dutch to the language in there or something like that, something that you really didn't need to upgrade the camera for. And it was like, okay, I'm not going to do this upgrade. But
yeah, like oh, okay, yes, for French we forgot to put the accent on top of an E.
Yeah.
So we revised the firmware for you. There you go. All right, Lee. Well, I think this is a long enough video. Don't want to run out of stuff, but yeah, we should try to figure out a way to actually do one of these live. That'd be crazy.
Yeah, I was trying to figure that out. I didn't think it would be too hard, but I say that and then it would all go to hell,
All right, man. But yeah, it's been a good chat. It's about time we actually thought of doing something like this. And yeah,
it's good to finally talk to you. I mean, I've chatted with you, but I've never actually done something like this. So this was really cool.
Yeah, definitely cool. So everyone who's watching, if you haven't already, subscribe to both our channels. We have valuable stuff for all you Pentax shooters and camera aficionados. Or now I'm just throwing words out there, man. Okay, that's it. All right, man. Anyway, enjoy the rest of your day.
All right, take it easy.
All right. Bye.